What's up everybody, it's KelseeBrianaJai here with a video on new MAC brushes. I don't know if you guys don't know yet, but MAC has changed their brushes, or they are in the process of changing. It's a gradual change to synthetic hair brushes, and prior to this, MAC had a few synthetic hair brushes that they would come out with occasionally, but now they're switching their entire line from the natural hair to being fully synthetic. So there will be no more natural hair brushes in the MAC world. This does not come to me by surprise. I knew this was going to happen. I saw MAC putting their brushes on sale a few times last year, and I knew that they were going to make this gradual change. What they've been doing is selling their natural hair brushes and then slowly replacing them with the synthetic hair brushes. So it's supposed to be the same exact brushes, so same shape, it's supposed to do the same thing, but they're synthetic, and you guys know what that means. When you're changing materials, a lot of times you are changing the actual brush. So what I'm doing today is, on one side of my face I'm using the natural hair brushes, and then on the other side I'm comparing and using the exact same brush in the synthetic form on the other side, just to show you guys what the application is like, how the brushes have changed, and just to give you all my overall opinion on each brush. I didn't buy all of the new brushes. Honestly, I have enough MAC brushes to last me for 50 lifetimes. I used to work for MAC, and then before that I was a MAC collector, and still now to this day I still buy MAC. I feel like I have enough MAC brushes here to provide you guys with my opinion on how I feel the new brushes perform. This is a new change that is happening everywhere. No one is exempt. Everyone will have the synthetic hair brushes, but I'm going to go ahead and jump into the demonstration. I'm doing the exact same makeup look on both sides of my face. That way you guys can see the clear difference between the natural hair brushes and the synthetic hair brushes in action. Let me know what you think down in the comments section, and let me know which one you prefer. Let me know if you could tell which side was which from this. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Got all my brushes. So the first thing that I'm going to do is apply my paint pot. So on this side I'm going to be working with my natural hair OG brushes, and on this side I'm going to be working with the synthetic haired MAC brushes. So here I have the 224 brush, and this was never one of my favorite brushes, so I'm not sad about this one getting an update. I feel like the 224 brush has always been a little bit scratchy. My brushes will maybe last a month before it felt a little bit too itchy for my eyelids. This brush is significantly smaller than it was when I first got it. I know that this one is a cult favorite. It's just not a favorite of mine. But I'm just going to apply Painterly Paint Pot on this eye with the natural brush. Same brush on the other side, I'm going to apply it. Same products, and I'm applying it with the synthetic hair brush. And I am preferring the synthetic hair 224 brush already. It's a little bit softer, and then of course for the purpose of what I'm using it for, a cream product, it is going to give me a better application with the synthetic hair brush versus a natural hair brush. Next I have my neutral eyeshadow palette that I created so long ago. I'm going to be working from that today. Going in with the 224, which is one of my absolute favorite brushes by MAC. I am deeply saddened that they are changing this brush. This is a staple brush. If you watch any of my tutorials, then you know that I use the 217 faithfully. I'm going to take the color Soft Brown first with the natural hair brush. I already know what type of result I'm going to get from this, and I'm going to take this above my crease as my transition color, and I know that this is going to give me a beautiful blend. Takes no time at all with the natural hair brush. I know that I can buff that color out. On the other side, same color, I'm going to take the synthetic hair brush. Okay, I can already tell you that this brush is much stiffer. I mean, this will be a nice brush to apply like a cream eyeshadow, like what I just did with the 224. But as far as blending it, not giving me the soft blend like I just got with the natural hair 217. This one definitely is applying the product a lot heavier and more concentrated. And it's like it's so stiff it won't open up for me to get that fluffy blend. It's like it's so tightly compacted that it's just applying almost like a flat shader brush. I'm having to work a little bit harder, and then also it applied too much product, so now I need to go back with the natural hair brush and just fill that back in. It looks like I've gone over this eye 2 or 3 times with that color just because of how concentrated it applied it. Definitely I prefer the original 217 over this synthetic hair 217. I'm not a fan of that at all. They're going to keep any of the natural hair brushes. I vote for this to be one of them. This one is just like a cult favorite. It was already perfect and I'm just kind of upset that they've changed it to this, and this is nowhere near the greatness of the original 217 brush. Next I have the 221 brush. I feel like it's going to be just about the same as the 217s. I'm going to go in with Saddle eyeshadow first with my natural hair brush, and I'm going to take this color directly in the crease. And the thing that I've always liked about this brush is that it's so tapered yet it's fluffy, and you can get the most beautiful blend and you can do the most pretty detailed work with this brush. As you guys can see, it's applying the color concentrated, but it's blending it out at the same time, so you don't have to do too much work. Going in with the synthetic version of this brush, I'm going to attempt the same thing. And again, this brush is stiff, so it's creating a cut crease almost. And I have to work overtime to try to blend this color out in my crease, and it's just not doing it. It's almost like it's tugging at my eye just because of how stiff the brush is. It would be a decent brush to lie down color, but as far as blending the color, these synthetic blending brushes just really aren't hitting the mark. I'm going to take this same brush and the color Swiss Chocolate, and I'm going to apply this on my very outer corner first with the natural hair brush. And this brush just really helps to blend out that color again with the natural hair brush. So this brush for applying color on the lid, like I said, it isn't too bad. It does apply a good amount. Now I'm going to take my favorite brush from MAC ever. Of any brush that MAC has ever made, the 239 is my absolute favorite. So I'm going to go in with the natural hair brush first, and I'm going to go in with the color Rice Paper, and I'm going to just lightly fluff that on my inner tear duct and bring it over. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that right underneath my brow and make sure to blend it down. Synthetic hair brush. This brush is definitely much stiffer. The shape of this brush has not been changed too much, but just the way that it moves, it's not loose anymore like what I like. It's too compacted. That can be a good thing when I'm packing on color on my lid though, so I'm not going to count it out right now. But as far as me applying a color on my inner tear ducts like I just did with it, I don't like it for that anymore. Back to the natural hair, I'm going to go in first with the color All That Glitters. And I'm going to pack that right next to Rice Paper on my lid and bring it over. Synthetic haired brush. You can even feel how hard this brush is, like when I'm digging in the product, it's literally digging in. And I'm going to apply this color. I don't hate this brush for packing on the color. I do feel like it gives me a more concentrated application, so I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm going to go back with this 217 brush, which I am strongly opposed to. But this brush, I feel like it could be good when you need color to be packed on the lid, like packed on there. You don't have all day, because my 239, it really takes a while to build up the color. It applies it a lot softer, so I'm not mad at that. I'm going to go in with the color Wood Wings and my natural 239 brush, and I'm going to apply this on the rest of the lid and blend it over. So now what I'm going to do is add a little bit of liner and mascara, and then I'll be back and I'll use the face brushes that I have. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to set my entire face with powder. I like to do that with the 109 brush. I've done it for years. It kind of packs on the powder. So if you're not a person who likes their powder to be a little bit more concentrated, don't do this. I'm going to take my Mineralized Skin Finish, and I'm going to take my original natural hair brush. Always love the little amount of coverage that I get from it, so this is a favorite of mine. And this brush stays soft despite the black hairs. Sometimes the black hairs can kind of get itchy. So now I'm going to take the synthetic haired brush and attempt the same thing. It's stiff dipping into this powder, I can tell you that now. I feel like this is adding way too much powder. You can see from side to side how much more powder I have on this side of my face. I would not use this all over my face again. It's not fluffy. I feel like I have to go over every single area. It's very stiff. And I also think that it's kind of lifting up my makeup. Maybe I would use this brush for highlighter, but for sure, I prefer the Natural Hair 109 brush. Next, I have the 135S brush, and this is a newer brush that I really liked from MAC. I mean, I guess it's not that new at this point. I've had it for like 2 years, but in my head, since it's not like a classic brush that they've always had, to me it's new. So I'm going to take this brush and do my bronzer. I'm going to take my Hourglass Luminous Bronze Light and use the Natural Hair brush on this side. And the beauty of this brush is that it is so slim, yet it's so fluffy at the same time. It really gives you the perfect amount of bronzer. Let's try the same thing. Okay. This brush pretty much gives me the same feel. It's giving me the same application as the Natural Hair brush. And this one actually is a little bit softer. I'm not mad at this brush. Which one do I prefer though? I feel like I like them both equally. Now I'm going to take one of my old favorite brushes. This is definitely one of my first brushes that I ever bought from MAC. This is the 168 brush. So I'm going to take the Natural Hair brush and I'm going to do my highlight. I use this brush for so many different things. I'll use this brush to contour, highlight, blush. It's a multi-purposeful brush for me. So I'm just taking the tip of this brush and applying my highlight. And then I go in with the body of the brush just to blend it out. And this is Beaming Blush by MAC, of course. Beautiful, beautiful blend. So let's see what this synthetic haired brush does. Some of these brushes are just too stiff, too tightly compacted. This brush isn't bad for applying highlighter, but just having this brush to apply everything like I did before, contour, blush, as well as highlight, I feel like this brush is not fluffy enough for that, and I feel like it will just apply too much. It definitely is not blended as well as the other side is. Lastly, I have the 116 brush, which has never been a favorite brush of mine. I feel like my 116 brush instantly gets scratchy after I use it one time and wash it one time. So I'm going to apply my blush with this brush and see which one I prefer. I'm going in with one of my OG favorites, Gingerly. Decent blush application. I'm not just overly wild with this brush anyways. So let's see what this synthetic hair brush does. In my opinion, it looks like a totally different shape. This brush is way softer, I can tell you that. And I feel like it applied the blush evenly and smoothly, and it didn't scratch my face. I feel like the new synthetic brush of the 116 definitely is a winner. I'm not a fan of the OG 116. I think that I would like this brush also for highlights because I feel like it's going to give you that smooth application. But just for patting on blush, I feel like it did a good job as well. So now I'm going to add on some finishing touches to my face, and I will be back to give you guys my final thoughts. My overall opinion on these brushes is that I feel like they were a change in the wrong direction. I understand that MAC wants to be more environmentally aware of what they're doing in terms of the production of their tools as well as their makeup and everything. I feel like these brushes don't live up to the quality of their other brushes, and then with them charging the same exact price, for me, I feel like it's just not worth the money because there are other brushes that are at a cheaper price point that deliver better results than these. I feel like these brushes just don't allow me to get the same makeup application quality as I was able to get before. Honestly, I really understand how older people feel when they say back in my day and people changing things that really aren't broken. This is one of the things that wasn't really broken. So I'm interested to see what MAC does going forward. I know that these are probably going to be a lot harder to sell simply because they're not natural hair and it's harder to get a blend out of most of them. I know that the new synthetic brushes do have the same exact price point as the natural hair brushes. I feel that they should have lessened the price point because I know that synthetic hairs do cost less than natural hairs. I do feel like the 135 brush is pretty consistent. It's the same thing, same blend in my opinion. And I feel like the 224 is not the same brush, but I feel like the new brush is an improvement on the design. I feel like the natural hair brush was too scratchy. It will stay this way and not shed as much and break and be as itchy on the eyes. Every other brush that I used today, I mean, I feel like the original ones were better. It's really a hard pill to swallow, especially as a professional makeup artist. I've grown to love these brushes. I use them in my kit. I use them on myself. So having this switch and knowing that I'm not going to be able to just run to MAC and get the same brush again is really hard for me to really accept. Are you a brush buyer? Have you ever bought any MAC brushes? Let me know what you guys think. Sound off down in the comment section. I would love to know what you guys think, and if you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in my very next video, which will be super soon. Smooches. Bye.